Alright.
Someone who watches this will hear my voice talking.
Bummer.
Please bring
Chris, you have a
28.
great voice.
Please.
Okay.
Good, you walk in when we're recording and you just belch like that.
Today's stuff is only kind of sort of new. We are graphing cosine as opposed to graphing sine. The good news is stuff is pretty much the same.
Whoa.
So we still have our standard formula, except for this time we got a cosine b. Oh, don't forget the theta.
Yes.
Theta, put a theta in there.
Why is it not there?
No, theta's not optional. Because I stink, I don't know.
You do.
You stink, you should
Like
shout
what?
it.
Okay. Alright, so as opposed to a sine via theta, now we got cosine, which makes sense because we're graphing cosine. A is still our amplitude, meaning our max and min. 2 pi over b is still our period of the function.
Are you doing
Okay.
like,
All that is still the same.
What is this box thing? Is that does that say theta in there?
Yeah, b theta. Okay. If you look back at your sine functions, you know how we had 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0? Okay, this time when we have cosine, we're going to start with our max and only hit 0 twice as opposed to 3 times. Okay, that's literally all that's different.
We're missing 1 point. Or
No, you just start at a different point.
0, 1, 0,
Flip to the next page.
That looks the same.
We are going to jump into graphing our standard equation, y equals cosine of theta.
When's the quiz on this
Friday.
You can actually rewatch all those videos.
Probably.
That's like
Okay.
9 hours of my day.
Question, what is my amplitude of y equals cosine of theta?
1.
1. So my max is, min is,
Negative 1.
-1. Okay. What is the b associated with cosine of theta?
1.
1. It is not there, so it is 1. So our b is 1. Okay. We need to find our period first. So first thing to do, find our period. 2 pi, you said, bless you. Our b is 1, so I'm taking 2 pi divided by 1, which is 2 pi. Whoa. This got whacked.
Sorry.
No, it got whacked.
Yes, I think we just need to give up on this board.
I know. Buy me a new one. Okay.
Put in a grant. Request for a grant.
You should just go back.
Step
Room
2.
that's not even yours.
Okay.
Step 2, split our period into how many sections? 4. So 2 pi divided by 4. When I simplify that, what do I get?
2
Pi over 2.
I was guessing.
Okay. Just like our sine, the first box, always 0. Okay. Oh,
What does it say? 2?
yeah, sorry. This goes here.
So we. Oh, never mind.
Okay. How do I figure out what goes in our next box? Times 2 or add pi over 2. So I can take 2 times pi over 2 or add pi over 2 plus pi over 2. What do I get? Pi. Good. Our 2's cancel. We get pi. Okay, how do I find out what goes in the next box? Times 3 or add another pi. Can I simplify 3 pi over 2 anymore? Nope. So I put 3 pi over 2 here. And my last one, no, 2 pi,
Just kidding.
JK, pi over 2 times 4. Does it still match my period?
Yes.
Yes, that is still a thing. Okay. So still finding amplitude the same way, finding your period the same way, starting with 0, and finding what your boxes are the exact same way. Everything is still the same up till now, yeah? Okay. here's where the different part comes in. We have our unit circle. This point is 1, 0. Here we got 0, 1. Here we got negative 1, 0. And here we got 0, negative 1. That looks familiar?
A little.
A little. Okay. When we took sine, was that my x or y coordinate?
Why?
Y. This time,
Where's the X?
cosine, all we're doing is taking our x value.
Wow,
Okay.
Okay?
that's insane.
So my cosine of 0, I'm
Shouldn't
right
that be
here.
Theta over x. If we're taking the x value. Where it says theta over y in the table.
No, this is our theta.
Yeah.
This is our y. Like, you know how you make x, y charts?
Oh,
That's all that is. They're not combined. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, back to reality, Chris. JK.
Legitimate question, dude.
I know. Okay, 0. My x value is 1. So the cosine is just 1.
So just flip it.
Wait, how do you
No.
Cosine is our x value.
job?
No, it's
So 0, our angle's here. My x value of this point is 1. Okay. Pi over 2 is here. My x value is 0.
0.
Pi here. Negative 1. 3 pi over 2 down here. My x is 0. And again, I'm back where I started, which is what I want.
Does it say why?
Nice
Like,
job.
Because in our equation we have y equals cosine of theta. So when you plug it in, you get out the y value.
Why didn't you? That makes more sense.
You asked why should we divide? Why did we divide that?
No, I said why did y in this table
Okay.
was theta
It's like a
over y?
sitcom in here.
Huh.
Label pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Okay, then plot our points. 0, 1, pi over 2, 0, pi, negative 1, 3 pi over 2, 0,
The heck?
and
Oh,
2 pi,
this is-
1.
Did you do DECA in high school?
You can't just kind of do DECA.
Yeah, you can't just kind of.
Yeah, you can. You only do it your freshman, sophomore year.
Why
Anyway,
didn't you do it
okay,
Why didn't
when-
you do it junior senior year?
when
These are all like
can I answer that when we're not recording, please? Thank you. Okay, when you have this, it looks like a V, right?
Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
When we graph signs that look like a V,
No.
no,
It's just
I
V.
still want waves, so it doesn't need to look perfect, but you got like a swoop, V swoop. I don't want a V, make it look wavy.
valley.
Is that okay?
It's a valley.
Awesome. Okay, sine looked like this, no?
Yup, it did.
So literally the
We're making
only
a V.
difference is that our sines go through 0, 0. Our cosines aren't 0, it's either up here or down here. Okay, that's literally the only difference.
That's crazy.
That is really
Are we done?
No?
don't even grab it.
Okay,
Do we really have to
Oh,
do five?
hold on, one more thing. We're gonna graph negative cosine. If cosine starts up here, where do you think negative cosine starts?
Negative one.
So negative 1 still going through 0, positive 1, 0, negative 1.
Oh my god. Do we have
Something like that.
Do we really have to do all five of
Just
these
chill.
examples?
just a little bit?
I'm just asking.
No, we're not gonna do all of them. We're gonna almost do this. Okay, questions here?
No.
Okay,
Good job, everyone.
good job, class.
Thank you.
Y equals 2 cosine 2 theta. The 2 out front here
B equals
means what?
Amplitude.
Amplitude. So my high is,
2.
min is
Negative 2.
negative 2. What does this 2 mean?
B is 2.
B is 2. So my period's 2?
No.
No. So first thing I gotta do is find my period.
2 pi over 2.
Or
Simplify it.
pi.
Pi. Okay. How does that help? Divide it by 4 equal parts. So pi over 4
Second.
is pi over 4 go right here?
No.
No, look what's here.
0.
0. So I got 0 pi over 4. What next?
Times 2.
Times 2, which is
1/2.
pi over 2. Good. Next,
3 pi over 2.
3 pi over 2. And last, pi doesn't match. Yes.
Good job. Wait, why isn't it 3 pi over 4?
It should be. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Good job,
Thank you.
Cam.
Good catch, Cam. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for
Yep.
sine, do we always have like
Oh,
the first theta and the first pi zero?
That was even worse.
For sine, it's always 0, 0. For cosine, it's going to be 0, and then whatever.
That was easy.
Shh.
So there's
Like, it depends on your amplitude. Like, it'll either be your max or your min. Like, if this is a -2, because your cosine of 0 is always 1. So you should take it times whatever's up here. So, like, in this case, it's going to be 2, but it could be a -2. If we had, like, a -2 cosine thing.
Okay, so don't automatically assume it's zero then, like sine.
Right.
Okay.
So is that the difference?
And sine, we always start at 0, 0. Cosine, we're either up or down, whatever your amplitude is.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I almost flew out of my desk
'Kay.
there.
So let's do some of these.
Whoa.
It's
So the first one is 2.
okay. So if I look at 0,
First one's 1.
the cosine of 0 is what?
1.
Okay, I already messed up. My bad. Okay. First thing we have to do is take our theta times 2. In this case, 0 times 2 is still 0. So our cosine of 0 is
0. 1.
1. Chloe.
Times the amplitude
1. So 1 replaces all of this. Okay?
times
1 times 2 is 2. So what's going down here is our 2.
So is it whatever this angle is, you always get 1
Their
because
amplitude is
it's
always
1.
one.
So then whatever that is times whatever the amplitude is. Whoa.
Okay, listening?
Yes.
Okay, when you have pi over 4, there's probably something next to your theta. Okay, it's important to look at that. Because if you get to like, let's say pi over 2, and you don't take it times 2, the difference between your cosine of pi over 2, which is 0, and your cosine here, which is -1, there's a difference there, okay? So always look at what your theta is times. You know that these are the only 4 we use, so if there is a pi over 4 or something that's not one of these 4, you're probably multiplying by something, okay? Does that make sense? That's just kind of like a quick catch thing. Anyway, okay, take our pi over 4 times 2, and pi over 4 times 2 is how much?
What did you say?
Pi over 4 times 2 is 2 pi over 4 or pi over 2, so I'm here. Cosine of this is 0. 0 times 2, 0. Okay. Pi over 2 times 2 is pi. My cosine of pi is -1 times 2, -2. Okay? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, if you don't multiply this by 2, you're going to get 0, 0.
Yeah. 0, 2.
Say what?
Is that 0, 2?
This one?
Yeah.
Yep. 0, what's my last one? 2. If you don't switch, like if you look at your table and you don't switch, like you have 0, 0, you also know something's wrong, so you're not going to have a repeated value next to
Okay,
each other.
so you take the
Whoa.
amplitude times the
Times one of these. You know what I mean? So like this cosine 2 theta is always replaced with a 0, 1, or negative 1.
So, but wouldn't it just be the same thing? So like, we can just talk later.
Okay, plot. We got pi over 4, pi over 2,
Oh, I got some
3 pi over 4, and pi 2, 0, negative 2, 0, 2. I missed that point. That's okay.
I agree, Chris.
I was talking third person.
Chris, you're stupid.
Be nice.
No, that's what
Yeah,
he
Yeah, it's
I was
kind
reading what he
of.
just said.
That's what I said.
It's literally kindness. Be kind.
What day is it today? Isn't it like high five day? or
Thankful
something?
Tuesday.
No, it's National Mistress Day.
It's
I heard it on the
not
radio.
even Thursday.
Okay.
What?
I heard it on the radio.
Dennis, let me just do
Okay, good here?
And it's recorded.
Yeah.
It's my grandma's birthday.
Can we
Oh
go
my
over
god,
one time
I
how we got
forgot.
On how we got what?
Okay, so like for pi over 4, how we got 0. Can we go over that one more time?
So pi over 4 goes in right here. So first thing you have to do is times it by 2.
Okay.
So pi over 4, what replaces this then is pi over 2. Cosine of pi over 2 is 0. 0 times 2, still 0.
Hello.
Thank you.
You made
That's
one
not
more
me.
question.
Senior. It's a senior because it's yellow.
Definitely not a
Wait,
senior.
what? Is that for the office?
Okay, skip the next one, and we're gonna write equations.
Oh, okay.
Let's just get this over
Hey,
with.
don't just skip 3. That one's weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
Maybe there's not gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
one
like
of
that
those
much
ways.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, so we
It's
can
not
cross
gonna be
this
on
off.
the quiz? Oh, thank God.
Okay, remember I have my standard equation, A cosine B theta. I'm writing equations for this. What is my A in the first example? So I have 4 cosine. Okay, here's the question. Do I just stick 2 pi over 3 in for B?
No. 3.
No. I know my period is 2 pi over B. My period in this case is 2 pi over 3. So I have 2 pi over 3 equals 2 pi over B. Okay?
6 pi over 2 pi b.
So 3.
So 3.
So our B is 3.
3.
So I have 4 cosine of 3 theta.
Circle slash. That's
Okay.
what I called it when I didn't know what it was. I was just like circle slash.
Fill in y equals all left cosine. Who's got it? How's my equation start?
Y equals pi.
Yep.
Pi cosine 2.
Cosine, no, not yet.
3.
Whoa.
Nope.
Theta.
Okay, my period is 2 pi over b. My period in this case is 3 pi
Oh, this is the
over 2.
Oh, I see.
You notice 3 and 2 are not the same?
I noticed that.
I notice now.
That's 3/4, right?
You need to cross multiply to solve this. Okay? So 2 times 2
4
pi,
over 3 pi b.
4 pi, b times 3 pi is b 3 pi. How would I get b by itself?
Divide by 3 pi.
So 3/4.
Pi's cancel, my b is not 3/4, it is 4/3.
Sorry, same difference.
So cosine of 4/3.
Close
Theta.
enough. Sometimes I forget my numerators and denominators. You know how I learned
Okay,
numerators
good
and
here?
denominators
Yes.
and shit? I have a song.
How did you learn it?
No, how about later? Okay, one more slide. No, later. Later. Okay,
North.
amplitude is what?
2.
Oh, that's-
2. My period, do you remember how to find period?
2 pi over.
What are you doing?
From a graph.
Oh, you go
I wanna
from
say
the highest point and up.
Yep, start at 0.
two.
I want to get back to 2. How long does it take to get back to 2?
Pi.
Pi, 0 to pi, so my period is pi. Is pi b then?
No.
No, what do I gotta do?
Cross multiply.
Well, set up my equation. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 pi over b equals pi.
What?
Okay, pi is the same as pi over 1. Just like 5 is the same as 5 over 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so cross multiply this. 2 pi
Pi over b.
equals b pi. How much is b?
2.
B is 2. So I have y equals what?
Y equals 2 cos 2 beta.
Good. 2 cos 2 theta.
Oh, it's beta?
Theta.
I've been saying beta like beta fish.
Oh, no.
The first one you said, I thought you said feta, like feta cheese.